Well, here's another update since I just don't get enough of posting these, but this is going to be a little different as this will be the last time you hear or see of me on this channel. So what happened? Well, I'm going to go over a history of this channel briefly and talk about some things that haven't been discussed and why I'm leaving. After I go through that, I'll discuss in further detail why no videos have come out in the last 4 months, or probably 5 or 6 now, even after the whole rebranding thing. January of 2016, Daniel and Spencer, they have this idea to create a YouTube channel where the two of them play video games in a very Game Grumps-like manner, throwing in small editing quirks and other stuff to differentiate themselves from others. Not a completely novel idea, but, it was only meant to be a hobby as far as I know. After a short time, probably like a month or so maybe, I was approached about it, and I'm immediately on board. The issue we had was that nobody had any way of capturing video or audio without the use of using the cell phones, and that's something that we did for a bit, but we eventually decided we need to fix this. So, I personally paid for a Hopage HD PVR capture card and a Blue Snowball USB microphone to get us going. I also purchased NCH Video Pad for video editing after about 4 months of videos. I wanted to get the ball rolling more than anyone else, so this is how I made my contribution. Before we even began, we got another friend on board, John. The four of us began the channel in March of 2016. At the time, I was a senior in high school. I was also working 2 jobs and doing all of the editing work for the videos, as all the software was on my personal computer. We also recorded at my parents' home. At the time, I had no trouble with any of this, but looking back, it didn't seem right. Allow me to show you a few things here. So our channel has a grand total of 408 videos. Of all of these, I edited and uploaded all but 17 of them. That seems fair, right? Granted, the editing in these videos isn't too extreme. It, doesn't take too long, but I did take time out of my busy schedule to make sure every video came out the way we intended. I was doing a lot of other stuff at the time, so I didn't have time to do all this extra crap. So once the others had recorded their voices and played the games, it was up to me to do the rest of the work. I maintained the channel, I kept everything in my room, and paid for everything out of pocket. I was never compensated for any of it, and that brings us to another major issue. I'm going to be vague about this only because I don't want the person who's involved in this situation to think that, I hate them or anything. I am a bit upset about the issue, maybe more than I'm letting off, but it's really just a matter of financial burden. So I want it to be known that this was a huge problem for a very, very long time. The computer that I relied on to edit the videos that we put up on our channel was to be purchased by this member of the group. It is an Alienware 15R2. As a matter of fact, I think I have it right behind me. Yeah. I was going to sell it for $800 at the time because that's how much it was running for everywhere that I could find it. And it was in pristine condition when I had it. So we made a deal for payments to be made, and we agreed on those terms. We agreed on this amount of money every month for for this amount of time until it was paid off. No interest, nothing. I want to say whole 8 months passed before I saw any money, which was fine. He had a financial burden that I will probably never experience in my life. So, after that first payment was made, though, everything was fine, right? The money started coming in as expected. Another year would pass before I was offered the computer back. And, at the time, during that year, I was working 3 jobs, paying for a house, paying for a car. It was not mentally in a good place. So it kind of got to a boiling point at one time. So, it's a lot of duress for a guy who wasn't even in his 20s yet. I mean, I'm 21 now. This was, I mean, I had just turned 20 by the time that I finally got the computer back. I think. I think I might have been 21 when I finally got it. But regardless, still a lot to, hold on to. So the computer was offered back to me at, I think, I want to say in September or October. And I didn't end up getting it back until May. And that's 7 months of waiting for something that I was supposed to have in, I want to say, March or February. So this was kind of the tipping point. But I kept silent about it to everyone because I didn't want to upset anyone. They had stuff going on. I wanted to be clear to them that I understood their situation as well, but I couldn't do it forever. 1 year before the PC would actually be returned to me, we began the rebranding into Spare Tire. In my opinion, this was a doomed idea from the start. I was working 3 jobs. Everyone else was either at school or at work most of the time, and it just simply wasn't meant to be. We made so many promises, like podcasts, short movies, and videos. We were going to do live streams, and I fully intended on making music videos and covers for whatever reason. And there was just no way we could hold up to all of that. It wasn't possible. So, real quick, I want to point this out. The Spare Tire rebranding wasn't meant to be a rebrand at all. It was actually meant to be the finale. I wasn't planning on doing Spare Tire in the first place. I had fully intended on cutting ties with the DSJ Squared channel and moving on to a solo channel. But I was urged by pretty much everyone in the group, including a few outside friends who don't associate with the group, to try a soft reboot, in a sense of words, and start from scratch, basically. So I bought a Scarlett audio interface and this microphone here, which was, as well as some other equipment, and that was a lot of money that, personally I use it a lot, so it was a good investment there. And at that point, I thought it'd be fine. We're going to revive the channel. We're going to do crazy stuff. It's going to be great. Well, as you could probably tell, that didn't quite go as expected. So that leaves one question. What happened? I mean, why did everything just go quiet? Well, I lost my drive to do this. Nobody else was able to or willing to upload in my absence, and things just kind of fell apart. I wanted this to succeed, but some of us had bigger aspirations, and I believe that was one of the biggest contributors to the issue, next to my financial burdens, which, again, were never relieved. And to be fair, I don't want to make this about my struggle, but it is the reason why I am leaving, is because of what I have been going through. It's also worth pointing out that after spending hours upon hours upon hours recording footage for these videos, I realized something that made all of this a bit easier to understand for me. I don't like making Let's Plays. I really don't. It's something I always respected growing up, but now that I'm working full-time, paying for a house and a car, I came to this conclusion about myself, and that is that I have a very high work ethic. So high that it might, in my opinion, be a little excessive. I also have this desire to do hard work, which is where I run into a problem with this content. These videos are so low effort, and they're so easy to churn out. I feel like I'm not contributing to people on the internet by making it. I want to make something that requires way more effort, and I want it to show, because throwing a video game onto a screen and then just talking over it, it just seems lazy to me. And now that I've done it for so long, it's just not something I want to keep doing. With all that out of the way, I don't hate any of the people on the channel. I don't hate any of the people that I associated with here. They're all people who did what they could with what they had. They all had their own responsibilities and things that they need to take care of besides the channel. And, some of them made mistakes. Some of those mistakes a lot bigger than others. But I simply can't keep attempting to revive this channel year after year when I could go off and make my own content, which I've considered doing time and time again. And now that I'm at this point, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys for sticking around, and hopefully I'll see you again in future endeavors. Good night.